What was that? What was that face, John?
Oh my God! I'm
That's
on
my
camera!
game face.
That was like that's the ASP.NET 1,000-yard stare.
Right.
What's wrong with him? Oh my goodness.
No.
All right. Hey, everybody. It's the ASP.NET Community Stand-Up. Most important thing that just happened today is that I have a new webcam.
Yes.
It's so nice.
So now Galloway is the odd one out. His camera looks terrible.
John has a potato connected to a USB hub that he is talking through. So that's lovely. And
I think
which one are you using, Damien?
I'm using the U-Butte Logitech Zoomy, what's it called? I don't know.
Oh, you're using the CC3300.
That one.
And I'm using the 930. This is the 930 I just got. And here is the 910 from 1985.
that's what I have.
Narrower field.
That's what you have?
Okay.
So you have a 910, but I'm telling you
Scott
what.
has better lighting, apparently. Look at that.
It's wide. It's magical.
You could do
could, like,
jumping
run
jacks
around
now
the
if you wanted
room.
You can see all the packages and crap over it. I don't know. I like this. I care about what you think, community. Is this a better webcam? All right, Damien, what's going on?
I've been promising I'd talk a little bit more about roadmap and schedule for my American watches in the last few weeks, and so I have a couple of things I can share. We're still working through the full roadmap all the way out to RC and RTW, or RTM, whatever you want to call it, but I can share that we're going to have a few more betas before anything else. How should I say that in American? Is that right? Beta?
Beta.
Beta. Two more betas. So we're going to have. I've got a slide. I actually have some slides. So let me share my.
Hold up. You have slides at the community stand-up?
I don't know. Hey, I've seen you show slides.
No, you're right.
I hit this green thing, right? And I do this, and I do that. So professional. Oh, look at that. It worked.
Aren't you fancy?
Wow, those are some slides.
These are
Okay.
the highest quality slides.
Oh, they're amazing. And like I'm just showing the whole world now because I didn't even bother setting up my slideshow. Let's do that.
Wow.
There we go. Nope, please no one.
You literally made a slide deck with 5 slides that have dates.
I have it.
Could have used
There's a dirty secret.
And you're going to display it. You're going to do it as a slideshow.
Yeah, there's a dirty secret. This was a larger slide deck that had more information in it that was internal only that I can't share yet.
See,
So
again.
I had
look.
to edit it.
Oh, my goodness. I thought there were no more secrets.
We're still secrets, yeah. It's not like we're out on our own. We're still part of Microsoft, and we still have other stuff, but we're a lot more open than we used to be.
Yeah. Afterwards, I want to see the slides.
I mean, the reality is that we don't know. Beyond the dates I'm going to share, we don't actually know beyond that yet because we're still figuring stuff out with partner teams, and we're not the only people shipping stuff. So anyway, Beta 5 will be on June 22nd. These are all proposed. I want to go back and say proposed. This is proposed. This isn't a promise. It's a different PRO. Proposed, not promise. Beta 5 will be 622. We cut that release branch last week, and so we're finalizing that release right now. Then it'll be followed by Beta 6, funnily enough, on July 20th, which will be a slightly larger milestone. There'll be a little bit more work in there. And then, because that'll be the whole month of June plus a couple of weeks of July in terms of coding. And then Beta 7 will be shortly after, will be 4 weeks after that, essentially on August 17. The cadence you can probably see there is that we're trying to move to a 4-week sort of cadence or a monthly cadence from here on out as much as we can. We're going to try anyway. Apparently my camera's not running now, so good. That's good to know. I can see my face and not my static face, not my real face. Scott, help me out. How do I get my camera back on?
You unshare.
At the top of the screen, you hover over the top of the screen, and there's
Yeah.
There you go.
Am I back?
Hang on. I think you're coming back.
No.
You may never come back.
I hit stop like a minute ago now. It's still not showing.
You have to sign up for a new account.
Let me flip my camera off and on again. Nope. It's going to hate me. It's just hating me. Okay, well, you don't have to see me.
That's going to make the dramatic zoom out somehow less
That's
dramatic.
going to make it less dramatic, funnily enough.
All right.
So we're gonna try and start hitting essentially monthly betas from the Beta 5, which will be on in June onwards. And as we get a little bit closer, so maybe during June or July, we'll be able to start sharing more information about what an RC would look like. Our goal for RC is to be go live and production ready. So we're not gonna cut an RC and call it a release candidate until we're confident people can use it in production and give us really good feedback on any issues they find that are production related. Right now we're still doing feature work. We're still punting things from release to release that we just haven't got around to yet. We need to get all those things done and then be confident, like I said, you can run it live before we call it an RC. So just wanted to.
What should people do who are like interested but not monthly beta interested? They should just kind of keep watching. You know what I mean? Like some people might say, "Wow, that's a lot of betas."
Yeah, I mean, there's a balance, right? I mean, I guess we could do the thing where we do one every 3 months, but then we upset a whole bunch of people who are, why can't I get releases on NuGet.org? I mean, anyone can be working off the dev branches, right? The dev branches that we use in GitHub that we publish, our CI build publishes to every time there's a successful build. They go straight to our MyGet feed, and anyone can use those at any time they want to if they want to be right in the bleeding edge. These releases pertain to things that we push to NuGet.org. So if you want to stick with stuff that has gone through some level of a coordinated test pass, where we go, okay, for beta 6, for the next few days, the whole team will be ensuring that beta 6 release actually works, all the things work together that we want to work together, and then we'll push that as a unit to NuGet and call it beta 6. If you're working from the dev branches, then there's no guarantee from day to day what's broken. Because we may be doing in the middle of a 3-day rollout change that may break half of the stuff until it's been updated because of the other half of the stuff has changed. So the named beta releases are supposed to be somewhat stable. That's kind of the point of them. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
What about for people that are looking at, they want to deploy something? Is this they need to wait till all the betas are done, or like as far as a go live kind of?
Go live will come with RC.
Okay.
Like if you want official go live, and all that means is that you can get support, and we're saying it is ready for production, it's ready for go live, is RC. Up until now, if you want to push something live, I'm not going to stop you. You can always grab our source code and do whatever you want with it. But it's
that's
not
pretty common though, right? To do. I mean, like RC is when go lives happen.
That's almost always, in terms of .NET stuff and Visual Studio stuff, it's generally the RCs that come with a go live.
And kind of assuming a question from the audience, is there any statement about the readiness of .NET Core and ASP.NET 5 versus just ASP.NET 5 as a general product that sits on also the desktop CLR?
Yeah, good question. It's a little mixed, to tell you the truth. So these dates at the moment pertain primarily to .NET Framework and .NET Core on Windows. And one of the reasons that we don't have an RC date yet is we're still figuring out how we do the .NET cross-plat stuff, really, the .NET Core cross-plat stuff, and where that lines up with this schedule. So we're still throwing around a few things there to figure out whether we do it all at the same time or whether we stagger them and what's best for the product and all that type of thing. So needless to say, they're both being worked on. .NET Core on Windows is a little bit further ahead because Windows is more of a known quantity for us, and the teams are still ramping up on the cross-plat stuff, and that stuff will obviously just get better and better and better. But at the moment, we're not ready to share RC plans because we're just not close enough to really know confidently when that will be for .NET Core, .NET Framework, ASP.NET 5 on Windows, and the same thing without the .NET Framework on Linux.
Yeah.
But for these releases, we're primarily talking about the ASP.NET piece. Obviously, ASP.NET on .NET Framework on Windows is like the most known quantity we have. ASP.NET 5 on top of .NET Core on Windows is kind of the next thing down, which is why we're using these beta monikers, and then on cross-plat is a little bit behind that again. So.
Did you, by the way, this is random, but I'm just really into it. Did you see the Docker extension for Visual Studio?
I read your blog post, and I have it up, and it's something I mean to do this week, is to try and get that running.
It's really cool. Like, I wouldn't think of it as like it's done in any way. It's preview for preview for preview on top of previews. But like, I feel like this time next year, it's going to be commonplace. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really cool beginning of the uptick of awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, it's super fun. Docker is still confusing to me, but I had an ASP.NET 5 site running on Linux in Azure in like 10 minutes. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Now, yeah, I have a dream that one day I'll just be able to install Visual Studio on Windows and start a new ASP.NET 5 project. And in the little drop down with the little green arrow where it currently says IS Express, I'll just be able to choose like Docker on Linux, and it'll create me a VM or something on Windows magically, and I'll hit run, and it'll just deploy my ASP.NET 5 in Docker into Linux, and it'll just work, and the debugger will work. That's kind of my dream, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I just found out that my Synology, my home NAS, has Docker built in.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
So that means I could theoretically push an ASP.NET 5 site to my NAS using Docker, although I'm not sure it uses ARM or not. I don't understand how the different, like Docker is supposed to just work everywhere, you know what I mean?
Well, not really, right? Docker is based on images. Those images are still platform specific.
They run on top of the core.
So yeah, exactly. So you build like your ASP.NET 5 Docker image for your app might sit on top of the ASP.NET 5 mono for Linux Docker image. But so there's some level of composability. Like you can take your app and put that Docker image on top of a different Docker image.
Right.
But underneath you, there's still a Docker image that's ultimately tied to if it's running on Linux or running on Windows or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Hey, we had a question from Angel in the question thing. He said, will it be possible to get some more important modules stabilized earlier for the different betas? So like things like DNX hosting, etc.
Yeah, that's an absolutely fair question, and it's something that we would like to be able to do. That's part of the reason why we're not announcing an RC yet, is because we're still churning some of those core pieces like the DNX. We still have some very big questions regarding what actually constitutes the DNX. Like if you look in the runtime folder for any given DNX right now, there's a whole bunch of assemblies in there and packages. And even if your application references a newer version of one of those assemblies or packages, you won't get it because the DNX loads it before your app does. And so we're sort of we're still questioning some of those decisions and whether we should be enabling sort of slightly different models, whether we trim down the DNX and have it be just sort of the thing that boots the CLR and really nothing else, and then everything would have to go in your app. That would mean your app would have more dependencies because the DNX wouldn't be bringing them in for you anymore, so that changes some of the code. Or should the DNX just be kind of a known quantity, a bit more like the .NET framework? And it's like, oh, the DNX is this, and it gets you all this stuff, and you can't change it. If the DNX itself is using system.io version blah, too bad. That you're stuck with that. And if you want a different version of system.io, you have to build your own DNX, right? You can't just say in my app, I want a newer system.io. Or is there some hybrid where we can kind of sort of have a default system.io, but if your app chooses the newer one, we can swap them out really early on while booting up the CLR before we need system.io so that we can honor your choice. Of course, the danger there is that if you use a different system.io to the one that we plan to use, maybe something breaks or it's not quite, there's a whole bunch of trade-offs with all those different models that we're still working out. So I would love for us to be able to lock down some of these core bits a little earlier, but we're still churning. So I imagine that will start happening once we get closer to an RC, and you'll see the churn will go down in the core bits, and then it'll kind of ripple out until we finally see that even the most peripheral things just aren't getting much churn now, and we'll know that we're in a pretty stable state.
Yeah, that was a good question, I thought.
It's a great question, yeah. And these are the type of things we think about all the time.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, it is important. I'm just randomly clicking buttons now to try and see if I can get my camera back, because I'm going to be very depressed if we can't do the dramatic zoom out today.
That's going to be tough. I'm going to have to just back my chair up.
Oh, yes, that could work. So, John, do you have anything to share with us from the community?
I do. I do have three things here. Let me see. Okay, I am screen sharing. You'll notice that with my ancient camera technology, I'm actually going to be able to go back to my camera. Okay, so we have, this is build and deploy ASP.NET 5 applications to Azure Web App. So this is on your own TFS. So that's important. Let me mega zoom here. So this is on your own on-premises TFS. So during the build conference, Scott, your demo, you were deploying, you were doing the continuous integration deployment on TFS in Visual Studio Online. and that's supported, that's out there. But this is also if you want to do it on your own hosted TFS, they've documented this up. So that's kind of cool. And then I'd already I had this on the list here. We already talked about this, is publishing your Docker thing in Visual Studio, but it has a very pretty graphic. And one other thing I just wanted to point out here from the ASP.NET announcements, I don't know if you wanted to talk about this, Damien, at all, but there's this discussion going on about changes to Activate in Beta 5. So Activate attribute being removed, being replaced by these bespoke attributes just for specific context objects to bring in.
Nice use of bespoke, by the way.
I know. I actually brought it out of the. It's actually in here.
I'm going to go and look up what it means.
Yeah.
Custom, basically.
Yes.
Usually in the context of suits and clothing, though.
Oh, well, no, it can also be in bespoke bicycle pedals, for example, or something like that.
Or attributes.
Or attributes.
Yeah.
If John does not use airsats by the end of the talk, then
it's failure.
Really a failure. The whole thing is a failure.
Yep. So yeah. So anyhow, this I pointed this out on a previous stand-up, just this announcements thing, and it's kind of a nice place to keep track of breaking changes and stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. That's it for me.
Okay. I don't have anything, although this morning I did, or not this morning my time, this morning England time, last night at 1 a.m., I did a talk for Tech Days with a whole bunch of demos and stuff, and I did the Docker demo and some Azure stuff, so that should be up on YouTube soon. So watch for that. And what else is going on? That's all I've got on my list.
Okay, I think that's all I've got on my list too. So
you really, literally have no idea what happened to your camera.
Literally, I even left the call while John was talking and came back in. I didn't quit Chrome completely. I just that tab.
Yeah.
And I still have no video. So.
So cool.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, sorry, buddy.
I'm the voice from above.
All right. So, John, dramatic zoom out as a team.
Okay. I was going to do a dramatic zoom in, but I don't think that would be good.
No.
It's not pretty.
No.
All
Unacceptable.
Right. Wait. Oh, I started early.
Bye, everyone.